Hey guys, just wanted to give some input and opinions that may help when choosing a gaming mouse. But since people like Rocket Jump Ninja exist, if you want to look at any specific mouse, I would recommend checking out his channel or any other actual reviews on that specific product. But for now, we're just going to take a look at the history of the mouse I've used and what I've found over the years on how my playstyle changed what mouse I actually kind of need to use. And this is basically my first video outside of Iron Sight or just gaming footage, so, hopefully it goes okay, hopefully it helps someone out. I want to do like an Oculus review. I want to do a couple other review videos as well later on in the future, especially since we're quarantined here. There's not, a whole lot going on. But just to start out, I want to go through some of the mice I've used personally, or mice that I've just tried, or I felt the model version. I've gone through a bunch in the past, that ranging from like Mad Cat's rat mice way back when, Logitech G302, 407, 502, the G Pro Wireless, SteelSeries 600, SteelSeries 300, SteelSeries Sensei, Zowie ZA13, Razer Viper Ultimate, Razer Death Adder, Razer Viper, Death Adder Elite, Viper Mini, Glorious Model D, so on and so forth. I've gotten the opportunity to try a lot of different mice. And one last thing to note, just before going over the specifics of the mice, I do use about a 10 to 12 centimeter for a 180 turn, and about 20-ish centimeters to do a 180 degree turn when in ADS. And you can check this for yourself by either measuring it physically with like a ruler on your desk, or you can go to mousesensitivitycalculator.com, where you can input your DPI, your FOV, etc., what game you're playing, and then it will actually calculate it for you, and then you can transfer it from game to game. Okay, so we're going to be taking a look at three mice, and now these are the three that I have found to be the best for me over the years. These are the ones I've used the most, that being right here. The first one, the Zowie ZA13. We'll go over a little bit more detail, why I liked it, and also why I branched off of it. We have here the Viper Mini, and then we have over here the G Pro Wireless. Okay, so this is the mouse I pretty much have the most hours in out of any mouse that I've purchased, and that's the G Pro Wireless. I used this during my PUBG days. I've used this for Call of Duty. I've used this for a lot of different games over the years. Basically, this mouse was really good for me when I was a really low sensitivity gamer. And I mean, like in PUBG, like I would, have to start with my mouse up here, drag all the way down for recoil. Same thing with like Counter-Strike and other games too. Anything that I played really low sensitivity, and I would basically palm the mouse. And I found that this mouse was one of the best for doing that. And obviously, the wireless factor of it. If I could get any of these mice wireless, I would, as long as it didn't compromise by making them way heavier. Now, the reason why I'm not using the G Pro Wireless anymore is because, one, my play style kind of changed, the games I'm playing changed, and just how I react in-game has changed. And I'll discuss why it's kind of important to have, different features of a mouse if you're playing certain different games. It all depends on your hand style. I mean, not that this can't work, but I just wanted to experiment and find out what's the best for me. And what I found out, after going from the G Pro Wireless over here, I switched over to a Zowie ZA13 for the shape. Basically, as I was increasing my sensitivity, I was playing faster arcade shooters. Right now, you might know I'm playing a game called Iron Sight. That's basically my main game right now. It's like a fast, free-to-play COD. And I noticed when I'm needing to turn faster, I need to be able to go target-to-target transferring. I need to be able to do 180s. I need to be able to do stuff that I just wasn't doing in PUBG, or you wouldn't do in Counter-Strike. So what happened was, with the mouse movements, I found doing 180s while palming, it wasn't as comfortable. I felt like I needed to move faster. As much control as palming it, like actually palming it like this gave me, it wasn't comfortable. If I need to flick up or down especially, because I right now, with my mouse, I use my fingers like this, and I flick. If I need to flick up, I'll do that. Or I'll use my fingers to kind of move the mouse around for those fine details. Back in the day, I didn't do that. I would only palm. So I'd move my whole arm, move my arm, move my arm. But since I need to play a little bit faster now, I need the fingertips to be doing a lot of the control, so I'm kind of using a palm hybrid now. And what I find with this mouse is that when I'm doing a palm hybrid, when my palm's not fully resting on it because I need my fingers to be able to move the mouse around, there's this big gap in between. And basically, my hand will eventually start to cramp if that gap is staying there because it's not resting on anything, right? So I was started doing some research in different mice, and obviously, you know, Zowie's been a long time esports mouse. It's just plug and play, no software or anything, right? Now this mouse was almost 4 years old, so we picked it up, and I noticed right away that it was more comfortable. This shape, especially for my like palm claw hybrid and these fast-paced shooters, I was able to rest my palm, or just the top of my palm here, so there's no gap anymore. So basically, instead of having it like this, I want to use my fingertips to help me aim. In the games where a slower sensitivity, I didn't need to, right? But now I'm doing this, and you can see with the RGB light, there's a big gap. With this mouse, I was able to rest the front of my palm on it comfortably, and since this is a big one, and if I flip these mice sideways, even all three of them, I'll just flip two to show for now. If I flip these two sideways, you can see the distance, like the slope here, and the distance at the very tip compared to the G Pro Wireless, like that's way thicker, right? So for the Palm Claw Hybrid, this was way more comfortable having this slope than trying to have a Palm Claw Hybrid and your fingers are way up here. It almost causes a little bit of stress on this part of the finger because it has to sit up so high. When this one, it still follows the curve of my hand, and the bigger slope here just felt way more comfortable for me. In combination with having my palm on it, this mouse felt like a dream, in all honesty. This mouse was really good. So yeah, Palm Claw Hybrid is basically my main hand stance. I know a lot of people, you know, will do the same. You'll either paw, you can claw, you can use fingertip grip, whatever. I do a bit of both. And that's why this became my main mouse over the G Pro Wireless for a while. So, no hand cramping. The shape is pretty much perfect, in all honesty. And now, what I've been going with now, this was on sale. It was on sale for $39.99 Canadian. I got it for about 50 bucks Canadian though. And I brought this home. This one here was about $98. The G Pro Wireless, you know, is like $200-ish. So after tinkering around with this mouse for a while, I just wanted to see if there was anything better out there. And after feeling this shape, I was pretty convinced that this was going to be my go-to mouse, right? And after I felt this, though, it felt really awkward at first. I went to the shooting range, I played against bots, and I realized that, you know, my pinky, like, here, it's in a really comfortable position. Over here, my pinky was like, I couldn't find where it goes on such a smaller, lighter mouse. And then I realized, you know, as I kept playing, it found its kind of natural position on its own. Also, because it's 60 grams as opposed to the, I believe this is just over 80 grams, and same with this. I believe this was about 84 grams. This one's a bit lighter, and then this one's about 60 grams. So, once I found my natural position in this, even though my palm doesn't really sit on it, because it's so light, my fingers basically do most of the work. If I need to swipe left or right, my palm still reaches though. It still has contact. So when I swipe right or flick left or flick right, even if I flick up or down with my fingers, it still can have contact with my palm. I know where it is at all times. I haven't lost this mouse like anywhere along doing flicks and stuff. So after a while of using this one though, you know, I try to go back to my ZA13, and as much as I love the shape of it, I still think that if they had this mouse way lighter and potentially wireless, I would be using something like this. I wouldn't have gone over to a Viper Mini. Potentially even having this a little bit smaller would be nice too. If there's a smaller, lighter ZA13 and potentially wireless, I would throw a lot of money at it. That's still probably my favorite shape in the mouse because I'm like a Palm Claw hybrid. And this is really hard to find though these days. The ZA13, very hard mouse to find. But here with the Viper Mini, after feeling a 60-gram mouse, it's just, I can't move. These feel like bricks now. That's the problem. Before, I thought it was like the end-all, be-all, this is my mouse, right? Then once I felt the super lightweight, it didn't even matter that the shape wasn't quite up to par. It still made some contact with my palm, but the light weight of it is really what keeps me coming back to it after feeling these ones. One more quick demo of the shapes here. You have the Viper Mini. It still has a decent enough hump that it can be comfortable around the palm of your hand. You have the ZA13, which noticeably has the biggest hump in the mouse, and it's also pretty far back on the mouse. I felt something like the Glorious Model D, where the hump is a little bit more forward, or like the EC2 in Zowie, where the hump is more forward. For me personally, I like it back the way it is, and with more of a slope. Makes it very comfortable for like a Palm Claw hybrid. And then the G Pro Wireless, which is basically, sorry, let me move this over here a little bit. The more the middle of the mouse is the higher up part, and even the fingertips is higher up than any of the other fingertips on these 3 mice. And for me, that just makes it a bit more uncomfortable. And the way I play now, again, I do sometimes get hand cramps with the G Pro Wireless. Basically, I'm just using this mouse now to click stuff from the couch. All right, so this is why I'm saying that playstyle is a very important factor when it comes to choosing a mouse that's right for you, and the games you play, of course. Because once I started switching over to more fast-paced shooters, I realized I need to do more turns, more snaps, more flicks, and having a mouse that was comfortable to just palm, especially like palming, low sensitivity, arm aiming, that sort of thing, that made it uncomfortable for having to move the mouse very fast, and I needed to switch up the shape of my mouse that I'm using. Just because my hand kind of started cramping once I started needing to use my fingertips a bit more to move the mouse around. And that's where, the ZA13 came in. Again, that perfect kind of palm claw hybrid, which I love to use. But again, after going from a 60-gram mouse to an 80, I would say, the Viper Mini is still going to be my main mouse going forward, unless, Zowie comes out with a lighter mouse. So just to wrap it up, I just want to say that over the years of playing different games and kind of switching my style on the fly, and also kind of adapting to a higher sensitivity just so I can, do those 180 turns and do those target-to-target transfers a little bit faster, this resulted in, changing different mice, and I'm happy I did, basically. So depending what type of game that you're playing, if you're playing like the fast-paced arcade shooters, I would say, try to pick up a smaller, lighter mouse and give it a try. See how it feels. Basically, there's always like a 30-day return policy. I can't even go over how many times I've done that with places. Don't feel bad if you need to do that. Even if you just wanted to try a mouse, that's kind of how I went into it with the Viper Mini. I'm like, 30-day return policy, whatever. And, wound up being my main mouse. So ask whatever place you're going to buy the mouse from what the return policy is, because right now with COVID, sometimes it's like, final sale. Sometimes it's not. I've found that I actually have to contact the place to ask about it because their website isn't always up to date. But yeah, moving towards the faster arcade shooters, a lighter, the lighter Viper Mini for me is still better than the Zowie ZA13, and even this was known as pretty much the best mouse for a while is the G Pro Wireless, and even this just kind of feels like a big brick now. So yeah, I just wanted to share my experience with my mouse over the years, which ones I've used, which ones I've liked. I'm still going to be trying. I'm sure I'm going to be trying some new ones in the future too. So maybe I'll do some like unboxing or videos around that genre. So yeah, that's just a little story about my playstyle changes and which mouse I've used and what I'm using going forward. So yeah, take care.